Thanks for tuning in today. My name is Sean K. Langston. And if you're serious about building wealth through real estate, you're in the right place. Today, I will talk about why it's important to invest in real estate if you have a full-time job. One of the main reasons why it's important to invest in real estate if you work a full-time job is write-offs. Now, disclaimer here, I'm not a tax guy. I'm not an accountant, a CPA, an attorney. I'm just giving you information from what has worked for me. And so if you have any additional questions, consult with your CPA or your attorney. But one of the most important things with investing in real estate, especially if you have a full-time job and you have W-2 income, is write-offs. There's so many write-offs when it comes to investment properties. You can write off the repairs, any repairs you have to get done to the property. You can write off the property taxes that you have to pay. You can write off the mortgage interest. Like, these are huge write-offs, right? And so these same write-offs can help defer some of what you may owe on your W-2 taxes, right? If you're just working the W-2, if you're getting a W-2, working a full-time job, and you don't have any other main write-offs, any other like business or real estate, your tax burden can be higher, right? So having real estate can help you to write down some of your tax burden that you might have. Like I said, you got your expenses, you got depreciation, you can write that off over time. So you got depreciation with real estate. Like I said, property taxes, you got mortgage interest. So there's just so many benefits to owning real estate, especially when you work in a full-time job, because you can use this to write off of some of your tax burden that you might have from earned income, right? Earned income is a lot higher tax burden for most people. But when you have these passive write-offs, right? Like I said, so many different things you can write off. If you're doing repairs to the property, you can write that off as an expense. Updates to the properties, you can write that off as an expense. Like I said, again, property taxes, you can write that off. Mortgage interest, you can write that off. So just about anything that's affiliated with that property, you can write it off. The other big part is this is a benefit and a gateway to building wealth accumulation, right? Because what's happening is the tenant is paying down your mortgage over time. The tenant is paying down your mortgage, right? So, over the time you're working your job, you're still earning your W-2 income. Now you got this tenant that's in this property, and this tenant is paying your mortgage down. So let's just say you have a $1,500 mortgage on the place and the tenant is paying $2,000, right? Well, good thing about that is you're cash flowing $500 a month, right? You're cash flowing $500 a month. And you might say, well, that's income. Well, your write-offs are going to be huger than that most of the time, right? So your expenses that you write off, even though you're actually taking in $500 of income every month on that property, which is coming in, that's going to be real money going to your bottom line, but you can still use your write-offs, and your write-offs are probably going to be more than, which would be about $6,000 a year. If you're talking about making $500 a month over a 12-month period, that's $6,000. Your write-offs and depreciation and expenses will probably be more than $6,000, right? So you'll get to write that off, and you'll still get extra income, but you get to write the other expenses off that's associated with the house. And what happens is, over time, tenant is helping you pay down your mortgage, and over time, more than likely, the property is going to be going up in value. So not only are you getting much needed write-offs, you're also getting these wealth building pieces added on, right? You're actually building wealth because you're getting equity in this property over time, and the tenant is paying down. So that equity is getting larger and larger. Then at some point in time, maybe, start making extra payments on the property because you're making extra money from the tenant, you can pay down that mortgage faster and you can own that property free and clear. And that gets you more income every month. So it's a huge, big deal to have real estate when you are working a full-time job. Is such a huge benefit, because I'm just talking about one property. Imagine if you had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sky's the limit. Imagine if you can duplicate that across several properties. You would put yourself in a great position. So you don't have to stop working your full-time job. You can continue to do that if that's what you choose to do. And while you do that, you basically can have these write-offs, because it's hard for a W-2 employee to have write-offs if they don't have some type of real estate or some type of business, right? So it's very important that you own real estate, investment real estate, if you are a full-time employee. Thanks for tuning in, Wealth Builders. I'll be dropping new content every week, so make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one.